Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add Fathom Analytics code to your Webflow site. I'm also going to show you how to create an event to track a button or link. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to create an event to track form submissions. And note that this tutorial requires that you have a paid Webflow account. I believe it is the light plan or higher to be able to edit code. And on Fathom's end, all of this works with any of our plans, I guess, because we are awesome. All right, so let's get started. In your Fathom Analytics account, go to Settings, which you can do by clicking here, and then create a new site. I'm going to call this one Webflow Demo. If you already have the site, you just grab this. This is all we want, is the embed code, your site embed code. You can use this as is, of course, but I do seriously and truly recommend using custom domains for your embed code. But for this example, we're just going to use this. So I'm going to copy it from Fathom. I'm going to go to my sites in Webflow. I'm going to go to settings for the site that I want to add the code to. And I'm going to click on custom code. And I'm going to paste the Fathom code into the head code in Webflow. If I click Save Changes and then Publish, it has been published successfully. It is now live. This is the demo site. So if you give it a few seconds, hit reload, you can go back to the Fathom screen, click Verify Code, and it says that the tracker is installed because it is. So we're done. That is how you add the Fathom code to your Webflow site. Takes only a few seconds to do. So next, what I'm going to show you how to do is add a Fathom event to a link or button in Webflow. So on your dashboard, make sure you're on the correct site. We're going to scroll down to events and click add event. You name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name this button because I'm going to add an event to a link or a button. So I'm going to click create an event and I'm going to copy the event code. And I'm just going to paste that somewhere that I can get to it later and click Save Changes. So now back in Webflow, I'm going to open the designer and I'm going to click on where I want the button or link. So for this example, I'm just going to click on this and I'm going to add a link and I'm going to make that a link. So then I'm going to click on the link and then up here in link settings, I'm going to give it an ID. I'm just going to call it Fathom link, all lowercase. I'm going to copy that and save that information, this word right here, for later, for the next step. So I'm going to click Publish Now. And now it's been published successfully. I'm going to go over to where it is published on the web. I'm going to hit refresh. I'm going to see this. I'm just going to open my console here and I'm going to click on this link here. So I'm going to see that the ID worked perfectly. So it says Fathom link here. So now what we're going to do is add the code from Fathom to track every time this link is clicked. And that will show up then in the events area right here. So in the documentation for Fathom, there is a page called Setting Events and Event Tracking. And all we're going to do is go down to here, which is events as links, because this is what we're tracking. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back into Webflow, go to the project settings, go to custom code, and I'm going to paste that into the footer. So after where the link is on the page, and this is important. And what I'm going to do here is change this to the ID that we named the link. So that was Fathom link. I'm also going to put in the goal of this because this is just a demo. So that's not attached to your goal. What is attached to the goal is if you click on your goal, you see the event code. You want this event code to go right here. Then we're going to click Save. And now we need to publish it. So every time you make a change in Webflow, you got to publish it. So now it's published. I'm going to go back to where the page in Webflow is published. I'm going to hit refresh and then click on the link because I just want to test this. So now if I go back to the Fathom dashboard and refresh that, I can see that I've clicked it twice, which I did to test it, and there's one unique completion, which is me. And so one unique person, me, clicked the link twice. So that's how you add a Fathom event to a button or a link. So now let's add it to a form, because sometimes in Webflow you're having a form. So I'm going to click Add Event. I'm going to call that event form. You can call it whatever you want. And I'm going to copy that event code, and I'm going to save that event code for later. And I'm going to click Save Changes. So now I'm going to go back into Webflow. So I'm going to go back to the designer, and I'm going to click Add, and I'm going to add a form. So I'm just going to add a form block. I'm just going to put that right there. So in the form block, I'm going to change the name to Fathom Form. Click off of it and click Publish. So now if I go back over to where the Webflow site is published, I can see this ugly form is there. So if I open up my console and grab the name of the form now, I can go to the form, see the form ID. The form ID is this, WF-form-Fathom form. So I'm just going to grab that and paste that somewhere where I can use it later, and then close the console. So now I'm going to go back over to the documentation page in Fathom for setting events and event tracking. I'm going to scroll down to events as form submissions. So here I'm going to scroll down to the second bit of code for form submissions, and I'm going to copy that to my clipboard. I'm going to go back into Webflow. I'm going to go to the project settings this time, custom code, and I'm going to go down to the footer code, and I am going to paste that and paste that under the previous example here. So you could paste it without that example if you just had one, or if you keep adding events, just keep adding them between the script tags. But here, remember, this is incorrect and this is incorrect. So we're going to change the ID to the ID of our form, and we're going to change the goal to the goal code from the event that we created. So I'm going to go back into here, and I'm going to paste the form event ID to here. I'm going to click Save Changes, and I'm going to publish it. So now what we can do is go over to where the site is published in Webflow, hit refresh, fill in the form, and hit submit. And this is just to test it. So I'm going to go back into the dashboard for it. I'm going to see that it's zeros here because it hasn't been tested yet, but now I've tested it. So I'm going to hit refresh. And now I can see that it has been filled in one unique time and one total time, which was me testing it just now. So that's how you do it. That's how you add the Fathom code to a Webflow site, and then how you can optionally add events from Fathom to track things like links and buttons and or form submissions. Thanks for watching. Cheers.